Hello there and welcome to the Hashpower Academy. My name is Jake Scanlon. I'm the lead educator here at the Academy, and this is a place for you to learn anything and everything to do with Bitcoin in the context of finance, the price, where it's going to go, and how it's going to get there. That's the interesting piece. But you may have also heard of the blockchain, different alternative currencies trying to explore the use of blockchain technology and all other different things. Now, we focus here on Bitcoin, but also from its fundamental layers. These are the pieces that you may be missing in your understanding as to where Bitcoin is today and going into the future. Because if you understand Bitcoin from its dollarized price, maybe different trading sentiments in the markets and what BlackRock and all the other different large institutions are doing, what Saylor's doing, that's just the financial tip of the iceberg. Underneath the water level, the Bitcoin blockchain, the depths of all the different technical, electrical, and financial aspects of how Bitcoin works and the incentives of how it all connects together. Those are the most important pieces to learn. Why? Because if you are a trader, for example, it's all based on your information. If you know what happens tomorrow, you can trade today. And that's not to say that these fundamental levels are going to teach you what happens tomorrow. Well, in some sense, you know when the halving's coming, but if you understand that the halving is going to double the production cost, and you know that the price is going to not really go below production, these are the sorts of things that you might not understand if you haven't learnt Bitcoin's energy and compute fundamentals. And these are the sorts of things that we talk about here at the Hashpower Academy. The mathematical connection between electricity, compute power, and a quantity of Bitcoin being produced on the blockchain. Now, if I have lost you already, I'm sorry, but this is the key thing here. It's boring stuff if you are focused on the financial side of this. That think of 100 people that you may know. Maybe one of them actually went deep into mining economics and maths and physics and blockchain and coding and all these other different subject areas of Bitcoin besides finance. If 100 people that you know in the trading group chat, for example, and I'm sorry if I've targeted traders with this talk, but oh well, 100 of them, maybe one of them has some insight into mining. And that same analogy carries across to the world, that maybe there is truly 1 in 100 people that have got into Bitcoin and learned about it in some way. Now, that 1 in 100 multiplies out again. That say you pick 100 Bitcoiners of that 1%, barely only 1% of them have actually learned about mining. And so you've got this 1% of the 1%, and the deeper you go into these knowledge areas of all the different pieces from finance all the way down to energy, these are the bits of where Bitcoin's going tomorrow. So if you care about holding Bitcoin, storing Bitcoin, saving in Bitcoin, loaning against Bitcoin, yield accumulation strategies like MicroStrategy, you're only going to understand those from a fundamentals perspective, because everything in this world is based on the fundamentals. You get the basic building blocks of knowledge, which delves into energy, microgrids, grid stability, which is what Bitcoin miners are doing, the microchip technology innovation curve, that the latest phone comes out and it's more efficient, cheaper, quicker, faster, whatever, and it makes all the old phones less expensive. You can boil that down to, I want a fast computer. You go in the shop, you want an even faster computer. You're using software, you're doing gaming, you want a faster computer. But the underlying technology behind even all of our Internet of Things sort of world, all of those different technology areas are also part of Bitcoin. The AI conversation comes into this because what currency do you think AI is going to use? That if you have some form of AI that wants to communicate with humans through goods, services, resources, and language models as well, what currency do you think it's going to use? It's natively digital, machine learning, aggregated logic through this sort of neural network of trying to speak to you and communicate to you as a human, but as a system of if, then, and else. And what currency do you think it's going to use? And where do you think it's going to communicate it? Do you think it's just going to communicate with the blockchain and pay people to do different services that the AI can't do itself? Or do you think that it's going to also have an integration on the energy side, where the two biggest constraints with AI are, yes, the sort of models and processing cost required to run these models, but also the general tasks that is required, that when you prompt the AI and ask it to do something, there is a computer somewhere out there consuming electricity to give you that answer. That energy has a cost. And right now, data centers are going to be quite limited because of the constraints of the electrical grid. Net zero policies pushing for more renewables and more sustainable energy sources, and they're unstable. So you're going to have a consumer of energy on the demand side, such as Bitcoin mining, which if you delve into the Hashpower Academy, you're going to learn that Bitcoin mining sets a price for electricity in a quantity of Bitcoin. Now, what do you think AIs are going to communicate their need for both financial tasks to be paid in Bitcoin, but also to seek energy? Co-location, which is you having AI computers and Bitcoin computers consuming the same energy, and the Bitcoin mining machines will switch off because they're just an economic user of the energy. They will switch off to sell that power to AI services that will pay that higher rate because everyone's trying to use AI to make pictures of artistic art styles of every image you can think of. There's endless topics here. Microchips AI, yeah, that's the sort of compute parallels to Bitcoin mining. And then you've got compute in of itself, hash power on the Bitcoin side, which is the delving into cryptography and secure communications. These are all technology areas that they may seem boring to a lot of people, but they're not. It's how the world works. It's how it lives. You get in your car, you turn the key without even thinking about the combustion engine and how it works. And yes, we'll get to that world where the majority live in that just operator mode of turn the key and push the pedal and steer the wheel. Or, well, in our electrified world, we're not even going to be steering the wheel anymore. We push a button and get the extra hour of sitting on the laptop whilst driving around. So productivity gains somewhat. And networks as well, that if you've got these Bitcoin miners deploying compute all around the world, data centers all around the world, there's an aspect of mesh nets coming in, Bitcoin citadels, where all the different citadels have their own communication systems between each other. So our network communication systems get even more decentralized, connect to Elon's satellites, which need more energy. It's all interconnected. But if you just learn this piece on top, yes, you will ride the wave by holding Bitcoin. But if you don't understand the moving parts and the changes and volatility in these areas, how are you going to understand what happens tomorrow? Which, if you trade, you need more information, really. And SHA-256 is an interesting one because it delves down the quantum direction of things. You've got these new innovations in just about every direction, and if we develop computers that can truly crack SHA-256, which would be quite impressive, because SHA-256 is essentially a larger number than there are atoms in the universe. And to break that sort of level of encryption would be monumental. And Bitcoin being cracked, so to speak, would be the least of problems. There's nuclear codes and half the internet runs on SHA-256. And, well, yeah, you need to understand it to know where it's going. And when the news headlines come up, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is a concern. If you don't have the knowledge, how are you going to be able to action your trades? Sorry, traders, I keep prioritizing you as an example. But yeah, learn about Bitcoin, learn about the blockchain, but go into compute power, mining machines and microchips, the AI parallel, grid stability, where these computers can switch on and off and provide power on a Bitcoin unit of account, to such things like AI agents that will serve you in every way, we hope. And as everything else everything in society, you put in your mouth, put in the car, put in the plane, everything depends on energy. We have a currency that continually controls and objectively tries to price itself against energy, the petrodollar. And so energy always has a part of the conversation of the inputs to our economy and our society, and finance has all the outputs. And if you learn all the pieces in the middle, you'll have a lot more information to action your trades, shall we say. So I hope this was an interesting video. It went all over the place, but this is what we do at the Hashpower Academy in a more specific structural format with other videos delving into the numbers, and it will provide you more information. That's all I'm trying to provide here, is a wider scope of information to those that might just have a very tunnel vision financial lens to Bitcoin, when the energy and compute sectors create this very powerful trifecta that I've shown as a vertical stack. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one, I hope. Goodbye.